Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the NR2003 NASCAR 2021 season here on the channel. A little bit different today. It's not really the actual season we're following along with. We're doing an exhibition race due to the off week in real life, and we are at a track. It is a mod called Zenjoltis Mega Speedway. There you see on the wall 40 cars. Damage is turned off. This is apparently a 5-mile oval. I think my partner Jay, you might have a little bit more information here about this track. You were the one that kind of got me this mod.
Yeah, it's basically like a 5 mile long, super wide, very, very, very long Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's got the same type of corners where you have one turn straight away, another turn straight away, back straight away, another turn straight away, another turn front straight away. So it's really just a giant Indianapolis that creates a lot of insane racing. These guys are constantly three, four, five, a lot of times even six wide. You can run every single lane here. You can run from top to bottom and have the same amount of speed. Lap times here about a minute and a half long. It looks like Larson's already having issues, but and they're doing upwards of around 200 the entire way around this track. It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely nuts. And if there's any way to describe, or if there's any way to show off the craziness of NR, it's this track.
So I'm very excited to get this one underway. Like we said, it's not following along, of course, with the real season. And as Kyle Larson decides to do a little bit of rallycross, we'll get that figured out in just a moment before we go green. But we just wanted to do a fun exhibition race just to kind of keep the series going and see what happens here. So basically, it's going to be 26 laps around this track, and it takes about almost a minute and a half to do one lap, and we saw in the testing 6 wide, maybe even 7 wide. So it's going to be crazy here, but it's such a long pace lap that we'll come back to you guys once we get ready to take the green flag. Out of turns four, finally, a few moments later, the field is ready to take the green flag with Kyle Larson on pole here, with Kurt Busch starting on the front row. I mean, Jay, what's your expectation for this one just off of testing? We know it's going to be insanity, but what do you think is going to happen here?
I expect a lot of wrecks, and I expect a lot of 3 and 4, 5 wide racing. I expect these guys to drive like absolute maniacs, and I can't wait to watch it.
Absolute blast. This is going to be, like we mentioned earlier already a few times, this is just for fun, an exhibition race, no points awarded or anything. It's almost like an all-star race, I guess you could call it, but we will as well have that all-star race later this season here as Kyle Larson leads the way down. I believe, I guess, I mean, would we call that a back straightaway, Jay? I mean, it's a very long stretch towards the next corner. So, I mean, what do we have here? Like 4 different straightaways?
Virtually, yeah. We have, like I said before, we have the front straightaway, turn one, then a smaller straightaway in between one and two. Turn two, the back straightaway. Turn three, smaller straightaway in between three and four, and then turn four back to the front straightaway. So, technically, yes, four corners, four straightaways at this track. And even the straightaways in between the corners are still kind of long, but they're certainly shorter than the front and back straightaways.
I guess we'll call the ones between the corners straightaway 2 and then a straightaway 3. And then the front and the back here as they go down straightaway 3 this is, and you can see how widespread they get. They go from the wall all the way down towards that yellow line here as they go down into turns 4. But I mean, you can already tell this is going to be absolute insanity here now, as we're going to give you guys kind of a good idea here. Just look at that. That's at this moment 4 wide. Myself and Jay in testing saw 5, 6 wide even. Maybe they'll go 7 or 8. We'll have to wait and see here. Now, as I mean, Jay, this is also a good opportunity for us to just kind of talk about stuff that's been happening throughout this NR season as well. I mean, a main driver. I think about Kyle Busch right now, who is not even now in the top 20 in points. He's been having a terrible season as he, I mean, if you look back to Bristol Dirt, continuously crashed, brought out like the first 3 or 4 yellows, and ended up DNFing from that race. I mean, he's been having a horrible season.
Wouldn't it be ironic too that we talk about him having a horrible season and he comes into this race, it doesn't mean anything, and he wins it, or has a
Look at him
good
right
run
now.
for once, and it doesn't mean anything. I mean that's why I say that, because he's already up here towards the front and he hasn't wrecked yet, and we mentioned him and he hasn't wrecked either. So the one time Kyle Busch is doing all right and having at least a decent run for the first couple of laps is the one time it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he won now that we're talking about him. I mean, we've had that commentator's curse, and I'm a full believer in it now that we've done the NR 2003 season. We think back to moments where, most notably, Las Vegas, when we were talking about Kevin Harvick being gifted a big gap to second place, and then one corner later, Quinn Helf ended the whole career of Kevin Harvick now as they are just, look at this. It's 4 or 5 wide. It is insane here as they come through. I don't even know what corner we're in because it's such a large track that it is very easy to lose track of where we are here
I
now as they...
believe we're on the front straightaway
Oh,
now.
yes, we
Yes, we
are.
are.
There's
That
the
was the exit
finish
turn
line.
4.
But you see Keselowski side by side with his Penske Racing teammate right now as they dive down. They get so widespread into turns one. We'll actually kind of go back through the field here and give you just a chase cam view of what these guys are seeing right now. You just see right this big group right here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 car lengths or 4 car widths here now, as it is just insanity. And I mean, we were originally thinking about doing the iRacing Super Speedway or Coca-Cola Super Speedway for this, but Jay came in last moment and got this idea here. And so far, it's paying off. There you see Denny Hamlin. Jay, we've seen a lot of speed out of Denny Hamlin. He actually leads the standings right now by 1 point over Eric Almirola, but he's only got 1 win. So I think he's, other than like a guy like Kyle Larson, he has hands down been the most consistent driver this season.
Yeah, most consistent in real life, and certainly most consistent in NR as well. I mean, we haven't seen him be the dominating guy in a race so far this season. At least not. At least I don't think we have. Um, and I mean, he hasn't been the guy to always. We say we think he's going to win, but he certainly gets the best finishes, and that's what you got to have. I mean, if you're not going to win, which he already has anyways, but if you're not going to win, you got to have consistent finishes because no matter what, if you finish ahead of those other guys behind you, especially when it comes down to the playoffs, as long as there isn't surprise winners and things like that, you're gonna be you're gonna have success with the way this format is. Especially also too, and with it coming down to one race, all you have to do, you don't even have to win the championship race. You just have to finish second or in the race, or the best of the 4. So, I mean, consistency
Oh!
is a big thing. As well as there's going to be a big
Oh,
crash.
Harvick up and over. Oh, he lands on 4 wheels. Oh, and we do have damage off, like we said, because it's just a fun exhibition race. And thank goodness, because that was like a quarter of the field right there on just the 4th lap of the day. I saw Harvick go airborne. I don't think he actually went over. He just kind of went up in the air, came back down, and he's good to go. But caution will be out here momentarily. They also actually have to race it back to the line here. So now they are still going to go at it. You see the rest of this field here. The pace car, you see the caution lights. Who's even leading? I think it's Keselowski somewhere on this racetrack right now. Here it is right up front, the battle going on here. It's just 2 by 2. And of course, we'll get a replay in just a moment once they cross the line. Now, it's going to go 3 wide here, coming down into oval 4, I believe, here now, as you got Briscoe up in the mix. But wow, Jay, that was a huge crash.
Yeah, very, very big crash. In our testing thing, we saw them go about 7 laps or so before they were able to wreck. And this time around, we saw them only able to go 4 laps before they wreck, or really 3.5 laps. It's just with the way that this track is and the way these guys run, that's just going to happen. They're going to run into each other and have wrecks like that happen. I mean, 4 and 5 wide at all times is something eventually is going to go wrong.
We should also mention that just for an exhibition race, only 26 laps here. We're not doing any stages or anything, so we're just gonna go and probably go green crash likely here as the pace car is gonna come out in just a moment as the caution is officially out on the track. But now we're gonna get a look at what just happened there with the first of potentially many big crashes here today at Zenjoltis. What is it called again, Jay?
You
Zenjoltis.
know, yeah, there you go, Zenjoltis.
Zenjoltis Mega Speedway. First crash of the day happens right here. Michael McDowell, Ryan Newman, Corey LaJoie, they're all right together. There were like 5 wide right here. And then Kevin Harvick gets destroyed. Almirola as well. Harvick does not go up and over, but you see so many cars involved there. And of course, caution out here on the track. And there comes the 62 of Gregson, nearly into the back of the 5 of Kyle Larson. But that is the reasoning for the first caution of the day here. Back to the live scene here at Zenjoltis Mega Speedway here, getting ready to take the green flag several minutes later. It will be a single file restart, of course, just because of NR2003 being the way it is. But Jay, if that first crash is an indicator of things to come, I am terrified for what's going to happen later in this race.
Oh yeah, 100%. We'll probably be seeing an even bigger crash than that. And it straight up would not surprise me to see somebody crash to the front, and then we see almost the entire field get involved, which I think would honestly be pure greatness just for the fact that this is an exhibition race. I'd love to see that happen, but yeah, I fully expect these guys to get pretty wild here.
And there you see Ryan Blaney leading the way. I mean, he's Jay right now the second best driver in the points right now without a race victory. So he's been having a good season. He was actually involved with that photo finish with his teammate at Logano at Phoenix, where Logano came out on top. But Blaney, definitely, I think, kind of a sleeper. We really haven't paid a whole lot of attention to him this season, and here he is. I mean, even in just an exhibition race running up front.
Yeah, I think he's, if I remember correctly, I think he's been in contention for a couple of wins now, and just never been able to close the deal and get that, actually get himself in to the playoffs with a win. But he's been running very consistently, and he's had some speed, and he's shown to be pretty good so far this season. So I assume it'll probably be no time before we see him get a win, because it'd be surprising to see him not get a win with the way he's driving. But he's kind of like Larson. He's a guy who's up. He's not as competitive as Larson, but he's kind of like Larson. He's a guy who's up there and competing for wins, just hasn't done it yet. And at some point he will get a win.
And I look at like right who's around him right now. I guess a driver that kind of surprises us, Jay. The 17 of Busher, he's currently the best in points without a win. I don't think any of us, after how many races we've done now, 7 or something like that, I don't think I expected him to continue this performance where he really hasn't been as fast as it looks. He's just been kind of staying out of trouble and probably has done the best of that of anybody this season.
Yeah, I think back all the way back to when you and I were doing the very first race of the series, the Clash, and we noticed how well he was running, and we were both thinking, this just has to be a one-time thing, right? And it just kind of kept going and going and
And we
going and
actually
going,
turned
and
his rating down too.
yeah, and we're here 8 weeks in, and he's still running really, really well. So I mean, I'm not too sure what exactly is helping him along this far, but I mean, it's been good to see. He hasn't exactly been in contention for a lot of wins. I think he's ran up front. I think there was Homestead, and there might have been one other that I can't recall. But he's been consistently at least getting good points, and now finishing or outscoring a lot of these other guys who run up front and maybe get involved in a wreck or have some unfortunate circumstance happen.
There you see Kyle Larson last episode or last week at Bristol Dirt ended up being his worst race of the year. Kevin Harvick, I look at as well in that 4 car. He has had some interesting luck this season. He won his duel. He won the Daytona 500. He won the Daytona Road Course. Won the first 3 races of the season, other than of course the Clash. And then ever since that, he's been either DNFing or running good, and he's had quite a few DNFs this season, but of course still
I
locked
think
into the
he is.
playoffs.
I think he's DNF'd in pretty much every race since he won. I
Certainly
think
seems
he's
like it.
honestly DNF'd in every single one of them. I know he did at Homestead. I know he did at Vegas. Pretty
Atlanta, I
confident he did
believe.
at Atlanta.
Yeah.
Bristol Dirt, I'm pretty sure he DNF'd. If not, had damage and running terribly. And then Phoenix, I think he DNF'd as well. So I think he's either DNF'd or won so far this season.
I mean, I look at the current winners in the standings. He's still got quite a few points compared to them. Like Cole Custer actually has a win back at Homestead. He would not even be in the playoffs right now without that race victory. But of course, as that Cindric won last week at Bristol Dirt. By the time the next points race comes around, we should have him actually out for the majority of the races, so we should end up fading away from the playoff picture to keep that more realistic now. But looking at the rest of the playoff grid, Jay, we got a driver like Bubba Wallace right now in that 2311 car, running up front here today right now, and he's just been slowly working his way into a playoff spot, and now he's in P14. They're showing definitely some good speed with that team.
Yeah, he's worked his way into the top 16 and slowly been getting the performance a lot better each week. We saw them struggling at the beginning, and you and I were both talking about it. We were kind of surprised to see them struggling, and then around Phoenix or so, they really turned it up. And here lately, have been having a lot of good races, which I think it's not surprising to me at all. I kind of expected that to happen. And it's good to see him in the playoffs now. And I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him get a win before we move into the playoffs.
Yeah, we talk about a guy like Bubba climbing up and getting into the playoffs. Well, I think about a guy like Daniel Suarez in that 99 car, who was inside the playoffs, but over the last couple of weeks has had some bad luck. Most recently, think about a couple of weeks ago, I believe it was Atlanta, missed the start of the race due to the car not starting, and he's just had a few bad weeks, and now he's on the outside looking in. Obviously, nowhere near as in bad shape as Kyle Busch. Or you
I
got a guy.
believe
What's that?
I believe the same thing happened to Suarez last week as well. There was something that happened to him right at the beginning
I
as
can't
well.
remember.
If I remember correctly, under pace laps, and I think that's the third time we've seen that happen to him this season.
Daytona
Was it the
500.
500 as
Yeah.
well? So yeah, that team having engine issues or some kind of issue under the hood that's certainly hurt them a lot this season.
Then we got a guy like Alex Bowman, Jay. I mean, right now, running top 10. But, I mean, in the point standings, he is a good, 60 or so points below the cut line just because of how rough of a season
50 to
he's had.
60, something like that.
Yeah, now
So
he's
yeah,
got a
it
lot of
has
work to
not
do.
been fun for him at all. He's
Right
got a
now.
ton of work to do. Honestly, at this point, I don't know if he gets in without winning. I mean, that's you got to finish almost top 5 every single week at this point if he wants to get in on points.
I think he can pull it off, but yeah, he's going to have to be extremely consistent compared to what they have been now, as he's right on the back of Hamlin, pulling over to the left. A little bit more calm right now here. I mean, when I say calm, they were still going 3 and 4 wide, and we're already closing in. Once they come around next time by, it will be the halfway point of this race here now, as we got Eric Jones up in the mix. There you got Corey LaJoy. He's having a great run here, Jay.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever seen him, in at least in this new car. I don't know if we have seen him be up towards the front at all, even at Daytona. I don't know if we've seen him be in the top 20,
5 wide.
except for the couple of times we've had crazy races this season where we only have 20 cars running, and he's one of those 20 cars. But yeah, it's certainly a great run for him so far.
Now, do you think they're going to keep it green here?
I don't. Honestly, I suspect that they will definitely wreck here at some point. They've been getting a lot more racy the last couple laps. It took them a little bit to get
4 by
going after
4,
that restart.
4
And
lanes deep.
yeah, within the last half a lap to a lap or so, they've really gotten to be 4 wide again. And if they move back to 5 wide, I mean, 5 wide is when we saw that issue happen last time. So it would not surprise me at all to see these guys just kind of run out of real estate here and run into each other eventually.
It's just a matter of time.
As
There
they
you
are,
go.
I believe,
Yeah.
5 wide for a couple of rows there.
Cindric all the way
Maybe
up by
even
the wall.
6 wide with Cindric.
This could get interesting. You see right at the back of that pack, you got Kyle Busch, who's honestly probably been a part of 3/4 of the cautions this season. Now, as he is in that third lane in the middle of the 4 wide, but oh my goodness, just, what a sight that is right there, though, Jay. And they go off into the corner 4 and 5 wide, just like right here.
I absolutely love seeing it. It's just this track. I've raced at it a few times on my own, and man, it's always wild. It's always this 4 or 5 wide racing like this, and these guys just making all these kinds of moves, and I mean, of course, the wild crashes as well. This track is just it's amazing, and it's fun to just see what kind of chaos happens.
Now, of course, it's an absolute insane track as they're trying to go 5 wide again with Logano on the very top. But is there like a specific lane do you think these guys can run to get just like better runs down the straightaways at all and maybe get momentum, or does it really not matter?
The only
6
lane I
wide?
think that is an advantage is the very inside in the corners. But I mean, other than that, I don't think there's really not much of an advantage to be in a certain lane at all. I mean, we can see these guys running right now. We have 3 cars all the way up in that very outside lane, and they're not really losing any time. So there's really not any disadvantage to any certain lane here. Whoever designed this track made it to where pretty much you can run anywhere on this thing, and I think that's what makes this track so crazy is you can run in any lane that you want to and have the same amount of speed, and it just gets absolutely insane.
And I saw 6 wide for a moment there. They were able to keep it clean. I think that's the most we've seen so far is 6. We'll see if they maybe somehow pull off 7 at some point there. As you kind of see Kurt Busch right in the middle of that pack. He's been having an up and down season. We've seen him in the mix a few times, but he's also been taken out a couple times like many drivers here this season. But definitely overall a driver that we've been kind of watching. Chastain, though, Jay, I mean, it has not been a good season for him at all. He is below Alex Bowman in the standings by 1 spot, actually tied with Bowman in the standings. So another guy that's been having a terrible season in his first year in a top team.
Yeah, he's struggled a lot so far this season. I don't think we've seen him have even a decent run, much less a decent finish. I can't remember any time looking at Chastain in the top 10 and thinking, oh, there's Chastain coming up here finally getting a good run. I don't think that's happened once this season. He's just kind of had an awful year so far, um, which I mean is not exactly. Well, no, I will say it is kind of surprising considering how well Kurt Busch has actually ran so far this season. Kurt's been another one of those guys, a lot like Kyle Larson, who's been in contention for wins a lot. So it's it's been a rough start to say the least for him.
4x4. So many rows deep, and even 5 wide there up on like the third row as you see the helicopter cam now. And I mean, they're giving each other room, they're making it work. Nothing really going on there is, I mean, crazy racing here though. Now, as I do wonder, I have seen a slower car up ahead, but I'm curious if there's enough time for these guys to run down potential lap traffic here, as we're going to get a look at this little group right here. But then there's the 54 of Yaley, who's even further back. And Jay, if these guys run down a lap car with this humongous pack, I mean, how in the world are they going to make that happen?
I genuinely have no idea. I don't think I've had aside from damaged cars, I don't think I've had them run down a lap car before here, and I'm not too sure I want to see them do it because if they do, I'm sure it'll probably wind up in a pretty big crash, especially if they run up on him five
Like
wide and
this?
there is literally nowhere for him to go. That may be
Oh,
even
man.
6 wide right there. Goodness gracious, how are these guys not wrecking?
Great view right there of the front bumper of the 10 now as they go down the straightaway, and wow, great racing here. They are like centimeters apart as they come through these corners, and they're just making it work. We had that one big crash earlier in the race, and here they are continuing to just kind of make it work. And we're seeing some underdogs kind of get up into the mix here. Jay, we got Tyler Reddick out in front over Martin Truex Jr. and Chastain now up into the mix now. But I mean, this exhibition race, it's a shame for these underdogs that it's not for points, because this is like the best opportunity they've ever had here to run good.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would also say the same thing maybe for Kyle Busch, although he's not running as good now as he was earlier. But yeah, certainly a shame. I'm sure they're thinking right now, oh man, I wish this was for points because if it was, man, they'd be having a field day, especially for somebody like who we were just mentioning, Ross Chastain, who's had an absolutely abysmal season so far, and right now he's leading this race.
So I just took a quick glimpse at that JJ Gately car, and he was in turn two when these guys are going down the front straightaway. So I think there's a legitimate chance they're going to run him down. Now, as I mean, we can compare speeds in this pack as they are
They may
so
wreck right here with
close.
that little
Yeah.
group right there.
Oh my
I
goodness.
was fully expecting that to be a wreck. 7, if I think so. I think that's 7 wide right now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide, 6 wide. They're going about 194 miles per hour right now in this main pack. So, but I just want to take a quick look at JJ Yaley. He's going 15 miles per hour slower. So it's going to be interesting here to see if these guys can run them down. Only 10 laps to go, but I mean, that's still quite a ways. That's a good 20 minutes away still now. As they got Daniel Suarez out in front. It is actually another thing I'm noticing, Jay, is it is insane how quick you can move your way through the field and have lead changes.
Oh yeah, it really is. You can climb your way up very fastly, and then you can lose all that ground really fast. We just had Reddick, I think, a lap ago, battling for the lead, and look at that, he's down there in about 10th or somewhere between 10th and 15th. So I mean, it's just you can lose ground here so quickly, and you can make it up just about as fast as you can lose it.
There you see them continuing to go 4 wide there. It's kind of fading down towards more 3 wide base. Kyle Larson on the very bottom there. He's trying to work his way through the field. You got Josh Balicki and a Rick Ware racing car having a good run today all the way up on the top. Oh, I say good run. He's fading down the order. He was running P10 though when they crossed the start-finish line now. As I'm honestly, Jay, surprised they've gone green as long as they have here. I mean, considering that first crash.
Yeah, I was fully expecting them to wreck again with another few laps, and I think we've gone about 14 or so since that wreck. So it's certainly surprising to me, and I'll be even more surprised if they go to the end green without a wreck. I really do honestly expect them to wreck again before this thing is over with.
Now, what's the cutoff here? I mean, there's a certain point you get a caution, and we can't go green. I'm thinking what 120 or 22, 23 maybe.
Yeah, I think so. So there was when the wreck happened, it was on lap 4. They raced to the end of it to get to lap 5. and I think we restarted on lap 9. So yeah, let's say probably 22 or 23 is probably the cutoff, because they have to do a lap to slow down, a lap to pit, another lap after that, and then they go green. So at least 3 laps under caution.
This pack here is going to absolutely run down JJ Yaley. He was just crossing the line there. He's probably now going through down towards turns 2. These guys are down the front straightaway. Get a quick look here. Out of turns 1 right now, actually. Going, it's weird. The pit lane's in a weird spot as well on this racetrack here. But he is now going into turns 2 as this pack is going into turn 1. So definitely keep an eye out here now as we got that 3 of Austin Dillon out in front here. He knows how to get it done at plate tracks now, as it seems to be calming down a little bit now. As I say that, means just see how widespread it is there, right in the middle of the pack. It's really close with Hamlin, Alfredo in the 16, but they kind of work it out now as Harvick's up the inside of Christopher Bell. But you got a driver. I mean, there's a lot of surprise names up here. I mean, we got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. We got the 7 of Corey LaJoie, Austin Cindric, the rookie. Ryan Newman's up here. And, of course, Austin Dillon leading the way. But now, I mean, I'm still looking here. J.J. Yaley out of the corner. Do you see the packet in the background? No, you do not. So that's at least a good sight for Yaley. But, I mean, Jay, if they're 4 or 5 wide when they run him down, I don't see how in the world they get through that without a huge crash.
Even if they're 3 wide, I mean, he's going to run the main line that the leaders want to run as well. The AI just do that on this game. They don't move out of the way, so he's going to run the inside line, and no matter what, be kind of an obstacle here. It would not surprise me to see these guys have some kind of issue getting around him. I don't know if it's going to cause a wreck, but he's certainly going to cause some kind of slow up, because I mean, there's nowhere to go. Look at that. They're at least 4 wide, if not 5 wide when they get to him. So it's going to be nowhere for these guys to go.
Down into turns 1, they are getting closer and closer lap by lap to that car of JJ Yaley, and we'll keep an eye on that now as we close in on the final 7 laps of this race as we continue to have some very intense racing here now as they go down this straightaway. Number 2, Kurt Busch actually going to make a move here for the win. I mean, we're getting close to that point, Jay, where, I mean, leading hasn't mattered whatsoever in this race. But now as we get closer to the end, it's going to become even more important. But do you really want to be leading coming to the final lap, or do you think second, third is going to be in a better spot to be in?
Honestly, I think 8th may be the best spot
Yeah.
to be in on the final lap. You can make up ground here so quickly that you really aren't going to know who's going to win until you're coming off of turn 4. I mean, this track's so long, and moves can happen here so quickly that you really don't want to make your move too quick, because you can make your move exiting turn 3, and by the time you exit turn 4 on the first straightaway, you're 10th. So you really got to time it right, and honestly, I think if you're the leader, or really the top 2 or 3, you may be at a big disadvantage, because the first guy like Reddick, who can shoot to the bottom right there, is going to have a big advantage here in turn 4.
There you see the helicopter view. Alex Bowman's up in the mix now. Kurt Busch back out front right now as you got Austin Dillon kind of hung out. Oh, boy.
41. I don't know how those guys kept it clean. Let's see if they keep it clean and coming out the corner.
They do.
Wow. I did
Oh,
not expect
boy.
that at all.
Yeah, neither did I. I saw that developing. I thought that was about to be a big incident, but, well, surprisingly, we were wrong here. Look at this. Oh, my God. 4x4 right now as we get another update. Only 6 laps to go. There is JJ Yaley. Do we see... The thing is, you're really looking to see if... Oh, well, there you have it. That is a sight right there you do not want to see in your review mirror now as we go down
That's
straight
not a
away
sight
number
these
2.
drivers want to see out their windshield either.
Yeah, I
They
think they're
know
about to
what's
be dealing
coming.
with them too.
Yeah. We'll probably
And
see them catch him down the
boy.
back straightaway, if not into turn 3.
A
Oh, no,
huge
definitely
speed
back
difference.
straightaway.
Yep, they're going to be all over him here and momentarily.
Look at that picture right there. That is terrifying if I'm JJ Yaley.
I mean, at least he's staying to the right. There goes Kurt Busch. Keselowski might get stuck behind him. Here we go. This is where we see really what happens. I mean, if you're stuck behind Yaley right now, that's a complete disaster. Oh, there it was. Oh, Kevin Harvick again. Kyle Larson in it. Oh, boy. Oh, Ryan Blaney. He's going to be in a predicament, I think. That could be an issue for Ryan Blaney right there. I don't know if he's going to be able to get that thing going. We might just have him stuck there as they go green. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. They still race it back, by the way, so keep that in mind. But, I mean, it's pretty straightforward now of what's happening here as they come out of turns 4. Jay, we knew that was coming, and this is very close. I don't know if we're going to be going green or not.
Yeah, I think we'll have enough time to go green here. We may get to go green on lap 26 or maybe even lap 25 to have a two-lap shootout. I kind of hope it's a two-lap shootout for the sake of these guys getting having a single file restart, need to get back lined up to go crazy. But I certainly think that we'll have enough time to go green here. But I mean, yeah, you and I both were talking about it happening, and no surprise there that these guys just the speed difference the speed difference, and with how close they are together, there's just you can't avoid a wreck in that kind of situation.
We knew it was coming once they ran him down, and now, real quick, we're going to get a look at what just brought out that caution here for what could have been the last caution and maybe the last green flag laps of the race. Here's the view right here of the caution. The 17 of Busher actually comes together with Kyle Larson right there. They make some contact, and then again, and then, well, everybody goes crashing right there. As for the 17, the 22, the 12, the 10, all involved. And then you got drivers like Austin Dillon, who was just up front a few moments ago. Well, he was at the back of the pack by this time, and it barely got through that crash now. As hopefully that is not the last of the racing we have here today. Back to the live scene. Unfortunately, it is only going to be a one lap dash to determine the finish of this race. Jay, on the restart earlier, it looked like it takes him a bit to get fired up. So I really don't know what to expect here. Honestly, Kurt Busch might have this race won.
Yeah, it does take them a little bit to get fired up, but I mean it's the final lap here. You know, it's gonna be a little bit different this time around. It's also a 5 mile track, so these guys have certainly enough time to get up to speed. I mean, they're up to enough speed by the time they're going in that straightaway between one and two. Just really forming a pack is the issue here. I don't know if they have enough time to do that, but we certainly can still see somebody push somebody around Kurt Busch here, and make something happen.
Well, who do you think is going to win this one? Do you think it's going to be Kurt?
I'll go out on a limb here and say that Corey LaJoy somehow pulls this off.
Corey LaJoy in P3 is definitely in a decent position to pull that off here as we get ready to go green for the final restart of the day momentarily here after they come out of this long sweeping turns four. Right now, you got the top 10 you see on your screen. Daniel Suarez rounding out that top 10. You got Newman, Kozlowski, Hamlin, Alfredo in P6, Tyler Reddick fourth or fifth, and Custer fourth, LaJoy in P3. I think the feel good here, Jay, would definitely have to be that 7 car of LaJoy. So I would love to see him win too.
Yeah, he's had a really good run so far today. He's been up front for the last 6 or 7, 10 laps, somewhere around in there. So he's been running up here up front so far. It's just I don't know if he has enough time to get something done, but he's already making a move for second place.
Trying to make it happen here. As I mean, the back straightaway is going to be everything now. Is that's when they'll start to get going a little bit now as they come through out of turns one up the inside there of the 48 goes LaJoy. Does he have the opportunity? He's got some help from the 8 of Tyler Reddick here as you go down straightaway 2 into turns 2. Kyle Busch getting a little bit aggressive back there now as they're going a little bit 3 wide back there in the midfield as they come through now through the center of the corner. Who's going to pull it off? Kurt Busch clear right now, but now we're starting to see 3 lanes form, and we're seeing Ryan Newman kind of take a peek there as we go down this long back straightaway, and now as we go down into the corner, LaJoy not close enough there to make anything happen. That could be it now as they come through the corner. Kurt Busch in position to win here in the exhibition race at Zenjoltis Mega Speedway. LaJoy to second place here as he's got a good helping partner of Ryan Newman, but I don't think it's going to be enough, Jay.
Now Newman just kind of letting him go there and making his own move to the inside is not going to be enough. Maybe they can make something happen here off of turn four. I mean, the finish line is 75% of the way down the front straightaway, so they got a little bit of a distance to go here, and it would not surprise me to see somebody able to
Here
make
he
a move. But
goes.
I think, oh, there he goes, Ryan Newman. He's going to make this work
No, it's
at the
close.
line.
Oh, Kurt Busch got him.
I think Kurt got him.
Wow.
Kurt got him just barely. What a finish.
A photo finish. Ryan Newman did everything right on that last lap. And just about, well, I guess one thing he did wrong was not win the race there. But it was very close to pulling that off. What a race. I mean, if only that would have been a good, like, maybe 3 or 4 lap sprint, Jay. That would have been just insanity. But, I mean, still, for 1 lap dash, they put on a great show right there.
Yeah, I would personally enjoyed seeing them go. You know, would have 2 or 3 laps there to end it. It's unfortunate that it didn't pan out that way, but still, I mean, you know, long track. These guys had plenty of time to get something going, and they certainly did by the time they exited turn 4. Ryan Newman, man, what a finish that was. Almost just needed another foot or two, and he would have had Kurt Busch beat.
Let's get a look actually at that finish there and how close Ryan Newman came to beating that one car of Kurt Busch to the finish. Here you see the finish out of turn 3. Newman decides to hang LaJoie out, make it 3 wide with LaJoie as well as Alex Bowman in the 48. He has help from this car behind of Chase Elliott right there. Now as they would go into turns 4, still 3 wide right here. Kurt Busch leading the way, and it looked like it was perfectly just timed for Newman almost as it came through out of turns 4. You're going to see him just kind of pull out of line with that 9 of Chase Elliott. And I mean, I guess he just had the help from the 9 pushing him almost in front of the 1 car, Jay.
Yeah, wow, that was entertaining. I mean, 1 lap dash, and these guys coming off turn 4, and all of a sudden we see a move getting made, and I don't know where the heck Ryan Newman got that run, but wow, I mean, certainly had a big advantage there with Chase pushing him, and I guess Kurt Busch not having anybody behind him to push really put him at a disadvantage. And I mean, luckily for Kurt, he was able to hold on and just had just enough time to keep himself in front of Ryan Newman. I really do think that finish line is another foot or two further down the front straightaway, and we see Ryan Newman in victory lane right now.
There you see the finishing order on your screen. I mean, not a whole lot to talk about, of course, just being an exhibition race, but it was definitely a lot of fun for us to do and record, and we'll be putting this up on Sunday, and cannot wait for you guys to see this one. It was a blast, and hopefully in future off weeks we can do more stuff like this, maybe at Coca-Cola Super Speedway, and if we can find some more tracks that are just insanity, we'll definitely be open to doing those, as well as I think we have another couple off weeks at some point throughout the season. So for myself and Jay Cook, we'd like to thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch this episode. Next week we got Martinsville Speedway. Jay, we did some testing there earlier today because we thought they were racing this week, or I did for some reason, and then I realized it was an off week. So from seeing that, what do you think we're going to see there at Martinsville?
I think we'll see probably an entertaining race. It was one consistent thing through all of the practices you did, and that was Kozlowski was up front every single time. So I think that this could really be the race that maybe Kozlowski shows some true speed and gets his season going a little bit. I think, if I remember from looking at the points, he's not doing too well in the points, if I remember correctly, for as much as we've seen him up front a lot this season. So he needs to get something going, and I think Martinsville might be the place for him to do it. We know how good he is in Martinsville in real life. He seemed to be very good there on NR. So it would not surprise me, as long as he can stay out of issues. It would not surprise me to see him wind up in victory lane.
We'll have to wait and see what happens. Like I said, thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch this episode, and we'll see you guys next week when we return to the actual regular season and some points racing at Martinsville Speedway for 300 laps around the paperclip. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.